Hmm.
Anybody turning any questions in?
No, not this week.
Not this week.
No.
No.
Hello, Manahar.
John, how you doing, yeah? Sorry.
Good, good. Hello, Trish.
Hi.
Hey, Keith.
Hello there. I was just thinking about myself.
That's almost impossible
Oh yeah.
because
Yeah.
you're,
Self-thinking.
yeah, how can you think about yourself? Yourself
You
is
can
a
only be,
reality. Thinking is a layer.
you can only
So
be the self. Right?
you're thinking about something other than yourself, which is the only
Yeah.
thing you can think about.
Yeah. I'm making myself into another, right? Because
Yeah, I
of the,
mean, everything that you think about has to be something, just layers of illusion. And you can only, because the mind came along with the body, which came along with the world. So it can only think thoughts about the worldly existence, which you know is not true. Like the mind can never present to you anything prior to beingness because the mind wasn't there prior to beingness.
yeah,
The concept of mind came along with the body.
it's like the mind is like a bundle of well, it's like somehow a bundle of memories forms and gets the idea that it is a self, and then it looks back at what it really is and thinks that that's something other than itself or something like that.
But the thoughts and everything, that's why Maharaj says the wrong files, the antivirus software, the mantra, remaining with yourself, the self. Because all the wrong files were from the perspective. Every experience was from the perspective of being a body in a world and having experiences. When you know yourself in a real sense, it's not true. So then you can discard all these things. And you don't have to kill the mind because the mind is just a flow of thoughts, but the flow of thoughts are about the illusory existence, which you're no longer interested in because you don't have a dog in the fight.
It's getting easier lately for me to recognize that I am what I see, that what I see is not really other. It's just,
Well, it can't be because you're formless. You're the screen, if you want to say anything at all, but not a flat screen. Like we think, oh, I go to the movies and there's a projector that projects images on a flat screen. The screen is presence. The entire world appears upon your presence. So you're not in it.
I can still,
Lights, colors, dance on the screen that you're providing the power for. But again, when we say screen, too often we think of something like flat screen, like our computer screen or screen of TV or screen of a movie. But screen is presence. Presence is formless. So these projections are on the formless screen and can be discarded because you're totally out of it. That you're not on the screen.
then I could also sometimes I come up with the idea that the screen or the presence is like has great depth, but it also can be contracted at the same time. But still, that's still just a concept.
Bible says no height, no width, no depth. This is very true. Because presence is formless, you have to use a body-based concept of height, width, and depth based on an object, and you're not an object. So height, width, depth, smallness, greatness, bigness, smallness, none of this even makes sense. Just like the air, the space in the room. We say, oh, it's confined within this room, but this is not true. Space is space. This is a house, an apartment, appearing within the space, and it appears to be divided, but it's not divided. If the wall comes down, space is space, and space doesn't say, oh, what a relief, I'm no longer confined to the apartment. It's not like that. So you can't say height, width, depth. You can't use any attributes. And any attributes that you use are just something that is an object and not the actual reality itself. It's just a layer of illusion. Because the only thing that can be identified is the layer of illusion. The first layer of illusion being the sense of presence, I exist, I am. Once this is identified, then the identifier disappears.
I could still get an impression that I'm like, if I'm being released from my former point of view, but I don't know, I can't say what I'm being released into.
From the perspective of the mind, it is like an expansion.
Yeah.
I told you about this when I was in the ashram, we were doing the bhajan and everything. It felt like this amazing expansion because only there was a dissolution of mind, that this mind is trying to keep you trapped in a limited identification. And when that limited identification is no longer there, from the last vestiges or concept of a mind dissolving, it feels like you're expanding. It's not true. It's just that the perceived limitation is no longer perceived because there's no one to perceive it. There's it's like a dissolution. That's why in Das Bodh they talk about the dissolution of the universe. And after the dissolution of the universe, you still are there. After the earth and the fire and the water and the wind and all those things collapse into themselves, you are there, witnessing this collapsing, basically. Don't take the words literally, but this is collapsing. And yet you're there. Prior to beingness, there had to be something there for beingness to appear. If you were not there, you would not know I exist. How could you know the sense of existence if you did not exist prior to it? It's not possible. The sense of existence has appeared to you. With the sense of existence came a body and a world. You got misidentified for a time. Master has said, oh, this is a little bit wrong thinking, wrong identification. Don't get involved in this illusory something. You unwind back to the one or the place in which the sense of existence was birthed or formed or appeared.
What could you say about evolution?
Evolution of what?
Evolution.
Evolution as in the five elements get together and create bodies that create more bodies that create families of bodies, and it's all the presence that's animating and moving them and giving life to them, all within the bubble of illusion. There's no evolution because there's nothing. The space doesn't have any evolution, but all these things that are appearing in it can perceive and say, oh, they're evolving. But in reality, there's nothing. Two lumps of goo got together and created another lump of goo. And then those lumps of goo got together and it's just like pigs make pigs and bears make bears and dogs make dogs and people make people, or humans, whatever you want to say, make other humans. But it's all the presence. It's all the spirit, the power, the energy that's moving everything around. But there's
what
no
about
separation.
primordial ooze?
Primordial ooze would be an element, and you're prior to the elements. The elements came along with the body that you are not. The sense of existence created the experience of dreaming this illusory world and believing it to be true based on identification with the body that you are not.
What about the Big Bang?
Again, Big Bang is appearing within you. There's no, you could say that the Big Bang is the concept I exist. because this concept I exist appeared and a dream world was created. So you see this world and you say, oh, look, this whole world. It evolved. Just like at nighttime, you could say your big bang is you fall to sleep, you have deep sleep. There's the big bang and suddenly a dream world appears. An entire universe has appeared with people and elements and evolutionary elements and wind and birds and bugs and all kinds of things you might even imagine that aren't being imagined in your waking state, because it's a separate kind of, oh, I'm dreaming in this dream state. Now the imagination can run even more wild than it does in the waking state. But it's all not true. So you could say the Big Bang occurs every night. When you sleep, deep sleep, boom, Big Bang happens, universe is created, and you dwell in it.
I was thinking a lot about the Big Bang yesterday or the day before, and it occurred to me that maybe what they say that the universe is expanding like really fast, and so, but maybe it's sort of like consciousness is already totally expanded and beyond any kind of perception.
Just
So
understand it's all dream.
any perception of expansion is within consciousness.
But and see, even this, just disregard that, because when you know yourself in a real sense, even when somebody says, oh, the universe is expanding, there's nowhere it can go. Like it's all within yourself.
Yeah.
So there's no expansion, there's no contraction, because you know yourself in a real sense, just like in a dream. In a dream, you could have scientists and they could say, we've come up with the cure to death. Okay, very nice. Within the bubble of illusion, the cure of death has been solved. Okay. Or even in the waking state, we talked about aliens visit the world and we say, oh my God, we're visiting. And they tell us that the galaxy is so much more vast than we could ever imagine. And it's just, it goes on to travel, it would take hundreds of years just to get to the halfway point of where the galaxy actually is. And there are billions and billions of forms that are in that outer space. And yet, it's all in you. It's a story that's told in the waking state, in the formlessness that you are. Even if you were to get in and do the sci-fi experience of traveling from here 1,000,000 light years and you're in a cryogenic state, you could sleep the whole way and then suddenly, oh, look, 100 million years later, we're here and we're still here. But it's all within your own self. This is the thing. It's again, if you know yourself as formless, you know yourself in a real sense, then this world that you're perceiving is in the mind, so to speak, or in consciousness, which is the same as a dream consciousness. Anything can happen. It wouldn't affect you at all. If World War IV or whatever, World War III broke out and the entire planet was decimated in an instant, it would not affect you. You know, they say like, oh, 8 billion people scream out in agony all at one time and are disappeared. But this can happen in dream too.
Is there any way you could still know yourself as the nothing? It's like it seems to be getting easier for me to recognize what the nothing is, kind of.
Well, when you remain with yourself, then this question won't be there, because the nothing is nothing. Like it's a black hole that sucks in all concepts. So even the concept of nothing is not there.
But
And if you're asking if...
It's not really a concept, though. Well, I guess maybe it is.
Yeah, concept is nothing, of course.
But it's like a being beyond concept that I can't describe.
Yeah, the sense of presence, which, again, appeared to you. You're the knower of the sense of presence. That's the pointer that we use to say, okay, if I remain with presence, there's something here that knows this presence, and I remain there. And there's
That's
nothing.
why I guess that's another step I still have to take with that experience.
No, there's no steps. It's just,
Present.
Keith, There's still remnants of Keith, the belief in Keith.
Yeah.
Keith
Besides,
doesn't exist.
it's like Keith is recognizing the presence or something.
That's fine. And then you identify with the sense of presence as your own self, not Keith.
Yeah.
Because the sense of presence
Right.
then can't be named, and
Right,
it doesn't have these illusory problems that keep you busy thinking about nothing.
Yeah, that's, I can't put a name on that nothingness or that presence.
Yeah, just sense of existence. Maharaj says, just I, I without anything. This sense of existence, sense of presence. Then you begin to identify, oh, so this is, I am more like this presence than I am anything that occurs within that presence.
Mhm.
Now you're not going to play with your mind anymore because you're concentrated on presence. Then you start to, the more you concentrate on presence, as Sri Ramakant Maharaj told Nisargadatta Maharaj, remain with the I am, the more you remain with the sense of presence, it's a black hole that just dissolves all concepts. There's no...
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, if that's what you mean by the black hole.
Because there's no concept there. There's no nothing.
Mm.
There's and the only thing that you can witness, quote, or experience is the sense of presence.
But what
Everything
about,
else is discarded. It's not even brought into your, like, oh, these things are happening or whatever. It's just you're looking through the stained glass window of presence and the entire world is outside of it. Oh, okay. There's a seeming world. And yet you still do your job, do your duties, but now you know. Without a shadow of a doubt, I'm not the body.
and now it's getting maybe easier to recognize when I am taking the touch, but I was wondering about passion. There's still passion there for the formations of time and change,
Only when you're identified as something. You just need to get rid of that identification.
but just what about passion? What is there still going to be passion?
Passion came along with the body. We're speaking about a place where there's no attributes.
Yeah.
Your original nature, when you're not imagining things.
Mm. There's still connection there with form, though.
Yeah, and it just has to be erased. And if see, the main thing is a lot of times the reason meditation is required is so that you can get that sense of existence, that sense of presence, and it can stir so that you can then draw your attention to that rather than the outside world, or rather than when you're sitting in meditation, you're like, oh, my mind is so busy, I can't really meditate. Meditation's not for me. You don't understand. I'm just this way. All of that is false. So when you start to feel the sense of existence, the sense of presence, again, just like Sri Ramakant Maharaj told Nisargadatta Maharaj, remain with the I am all the time.
Mm.
And Nisargadatta Maharaj has written in his books, well, someone has written what he said in the books, that he constantly remained with the I am in every waking moment. He would do his job, do his duties, but then return to the sense of presence, the sense of I am. And then, click, it happened. I think he called it, he deified or something like that. I still don't know what that word is, but basically it's like the coin dropped and boom. Now you know yourself. And that's it. So if you're with the sense of presence, then you just remain with this. And like I said, if at all you want to compare, like Maharaj says, compare yourself to sky or space, this very subtle presence. Oh, so that I am that. And now there's a knower of the sense of presence because presence is now an object that can be observed. Pure consciousness, pure awareness, whatever you want to say.
So,
You're finished.
So any seeming connection with the body is just totally in the bubble of illusion. It's in that realm.
Oh, yeah. I mean, how? I mean, you still have the body available, of course. Just like in a dream. If you dream tonight, you're going to have a body available. an instrument available. When you wake up, you know the instrument wasn't true. Now, when you know yourself in a real sense, the instrument that's available, you say, oh, the body is a long dream. But I'm not interested anymore.
But so there's no doer. So the doing is going on. Anything that can be called doing is also in the bubble of illusion.
Of course. Just like when you dream. You could dream and jog tonight and have a lot of activity. Hell, you could dream that you're going to do a marathon and train for the marathon, all within your dream. And maybe win or lose the marathon. And when you wake up, where was the training? Where was the running? Where was the winning or losing?
Yeah, change. Though even the fact of change in the rational sense of the word eliminates everything that it prior was. So it kind of eliminates everything.
Yeah, you could dream tonight that you become a bodybuilder and start winning bodybuilding champions. And when you wake up in the morning, you're still the body that you had before you went into this dream, and you realize, oh, that was a dream. And yet you saw, as we talked about, evolution of your body. As you're building the body, it seemed to be growing. You felt it grow. You felt yourself exercising and working out, but it was not true. The same is here. When you know yourself in a real sense, nothing you, quote, do in this world can be true. Now, that doesn't mean you just sit like a stone and not do anything. Oh, I'm not a doer. I will sit and not do anything.
Well, then you're more free to do whatever seems appropriate, I guess.
But there's no thinking process. It becomes spontaneous action. Pick up the cup, drink the tea, put it down. Like the movie Forrest Gump. When I'm hungry, I ate. When I had to go, I went. When I was tired, I slept. It's just spontaneous action in the moment.
And like right now we're always talking about a particular topic. We don't stray too far. It's appropriate to spontaneously address what's going on.
Well, I mean, because when we're speaking from ourself to ourself. Separate body forms and everything, but the speaker and listener is one and the same. So
there's timeless. So the Big Bang happened in this timelessness.
the Big Bang was just an appearance.
But
Big
it
Bang
was
just
the timelessness was always.
Yeah,
the nothingness. The nothingness. I mean, it's a concept, but the invisible.
Yeah, invisible, anonymous, unidentified identity.
Invisible, unidentified was always.
Is always, can't go
always.
Anywhere. Is always there.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
In order for any experience to happen, there has to be something there that experience can appear to. Mm-hmm. The experience I exist appeared to that which existed, that you are, that had no knowledge of existence. With existence came along so many other things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that.
So it's an anonymous listener and an anonymous speaker.
Yeah, I mean, Maharaj says invisible,
that's a concept.
Anonymous, unidentified identity, that you are. So anytime you try to think about a problem or think about something or say that you're trying to figure it out, you say, I'm invisible, anonymous, unidentified identity. What concerns?
I was turning what you said about the speaker being speaking to the listener, and I was actually, you were making a unity out of it, and I wanted to divide it as there's a speaker and a
Speaker and
listener.
listener are one and the same. The formlessness is talking through these bodies just like an orchestra. You know, oh, the flute is playing a little bit. Okay, now the trumpet playing a little bit. Okay, now the saxophone playing a little bit. But it's just in concert. There's no it's one speaker, one listener, the
It couldn't
same
yeah, it can only happen at present moment.
in the bubble of illusion. And again, you could easily figure that out when you talk about dream. Tonight in your dream, even if you're in a crowded hall where someone's making a speech, guess what? You're the speaker and the listener.
Yeah, yeah.
The people in the audience that say, oh, this guy again speaking, and the speaker who's speaking, and all the people that are enjoying the speech are all you.
Yeah, that's wild. I've just been, I've been deluded my whole life.
Well, the dream state, you know. See, that's the thing. You catch
Yeah.
it. You say, when you wake up, who else? Like you say, oh, there's so many separate bodies. They were all having conversations, and some of them were very mean, and some of them were very nice. And I liked some of them. I didn't like the others. But they're all you. You know this. You wake up, you say, oh, how could anyone else be speaking in my dream? And now you know yourself in a real sense. This consciousness, whether waking or dreaming, is the same. So now you know yourself in a real sense. All the speakers, all the listeners, all the quote unquote people of all the different varieties, some you like, some you don't like, are you. So you don't have to take the touch.
But then so when I do go out and get passionate about things, am I like putting myself in harm's way, kind of, and putting myself in ego's way? I guess I am. I'm
I
taking
mean, I think Bhagavad Gita comes to mind where Krishna said to Arjuna, go on the battlefield and do your duty, but don't take the sense of doership. Don't fight because you want to become a great warrior that people will sing about. Fight because it's your duty. In the moment, you're doing something.
So actually, you can do that without taking the touch. You can actually,
Of course.
yeah.
Well, that was the whole concept of the Bhagavad Gita, with the way they explained to Arjuna, who said, I can't kill all these people because they're like my family, and some of them raised my people, and some of them were like teachers to me and very good friends, and now they're on the other side. It depresses me. I won't fight. And the whole Bhagavad Gita is Krishna saying, listen, everyone on the battlefield has already perished because you're not causing anything. So therefore you don't take the credit or the ownership of doership of, now, if you go there and you start slaying the people and I am a great warrior, I am like the warrior, then you're taking ego. And then your mind was going to, because you're identified with the body and you're identified with actions, your mind is going to trouble you. I killed my great teachers. Maybe in the moment, the adrenaline's pumping, but then afterwards you say, oh my God, I killed my brothers, I killed my teachers and all this. But if you do your job, you do your duties, you take care of your responsibilities, you do not have the sense of ownership or doership because you know yourself in a real sense, then this does not happen. This does not occur.
But I can still go and I can lay ownership on others and say, oh, look at them. They think they're doing something.
Why would you do this? Again, it's like in a dream. Think of how silly you would be when you wake up and you're like, wow, I was picking on all those people that they weren't evolved, and it was all in my dream. And actually, the people I was picking on was me. They were different expressions of myself because I'm laying down sleeping and creating a dream world where I say, oh, this person really has a lot to be desired. What? That person is you, expressing itself in whatever form it may be expressing. No good, no bad, no right, no wrong, no dummies, no genius. It's you. If someone's irritating you, that is an expression of yourself that is irritating another expression of yourself. And only way you can be irritated is if you believe they're two separate somethings, and they're not.
But still, there's like a change going on within what seems to be a Keith. There seems to be a change going on of like, whereas
Keith is within you. So the changes that happen within Keith are, again, just like within the dream. Keith can lift weights, get very bulked up, be a bodybuilder, but all those changes are just appearances and are not true. So whatever changes appear to be happening, discard them because they're not true.
John, we're running out of time. What causes your heart to beat?
Again, that's a body-based thing. It's a lump of
But
goo, the five elements.
how's the body, how is it energized? From
It's
what?
a machine.
From what?
It's a machine.
What's the electricity for the machine?
It's a machine. It's the power, the energy, whatever you want to say. You know, the consciousness is in a rock that has nothing, because that rock appears within consciousness or appears within this bubble of illusion. So there's no like secret as how the body is operating. The body is formed. You feed it, water it, it grows. There's power provided, and the body is a machine. Just like any other, just like the light. If you take the light apart, inside the light, you have a little board and you have these different little, whatever you call it, electrical thingies that make the light go on. This is a machine. It's power energy removed, it's a dead body. It's still a machine. It's just a machine that has no power to it. Just like if I unplug this light, the machine is still there. It just doesn't have any power or energy.
It reminds me of what you said about it's all orchestrated. Just like a machine is the same as the orchestra. Any activity of a machine, it'd be the same, just orchestration either way, right?
Yeah, the sense of existence came along with a machine. The identification with the machine as myself is the error. The machine is still here. I just don't identify with it.
There's no animating force of the universe that keeps everything going.
Again, it's all within the bubble of illusion. So we go back to dream. What is the force that keeps everything moving around in your dream? You. There's nothing other than your own self. All the appearances are within your own self. All the power, all the energy, the spirit, the movement, the speaking, the listening, the actions, the activities are all happening within you.
Well, that is the nothingness that's invisible.
Because this is the appearance, that you could say the consciousness from the I exist experience. You have a dream world or a waking dream world, whichever you want to call it. And then activities go on within the dream. But you're not active. You're not supplying power or energy or anything like that. Only within the bubble of illusion are these little lumps of goo moving around and having more lumps of goo and creating a seeming world. You, the dreamer, dreaming, create that entire world, populate it with people